From promising rookies looking to make a mark in the sport to seasoned veterans fighting for the championship, here's what you need to know about each Formula One driver for the 2023 season, starting with the Williams pairing. Now, since they finished plumb last in 2022, Williams decided to switch things up for this season with a rookie in Logan Sargent. He's the first American to race in F1 since 2015 and comes with a ton of expectations. Though, the goal for him this season will be to just gel in and pick up a few points. For Williams' other driver, Alex Albon, things are a lot more stable. He's now detached from his tumultuous days at Red Bull. Plus, he got points 3 times last season and was easily better than his old teammate. The challenge for him, however, will be to lead the team to a better finish than P10. It's not going to be easy though, because the AlphaTauri drivers are going to pose a big challenge. Yuki Tsunoda, for instance, is going to start his 3rd season in the sport, meaning it's finally time for him to step up after a couple of lackluster campaigns. Not to mention, the Japanese driver isn't the new guy in the team anymore, so he's got to be more responsible as well. After all, Nick De Vries is still a rookie despite being 27. Now, he's a bit of a weird one because he's got plenty of motorsport experience under his belt. It's just that he hasn't had the chance to race in F1. If his P9 Monza outing from last year is any indication, however,
see if Nick De Vries has got some speed down the main straight here to defend against Zhou Guanyu, and he plants that Williams in the middle of the track and holds off the rookie from Shanghai.
then it's safe to assume that he's going to feel right at home here. Speaking of feeling right at home, Haas has opted for an experienced driver lineup. They've replaced younger Mick Schumacher with the all-reliable Nico Hülkenberg, who probably won't set the world on fire, but he won't crash either. He currently holds the record for most races without a podium at 181, though, again, his only job is going to be finishing in the points. And of course, the same goes for his teammate, Kevin Magnussen, who finished 13th last season and was honestly pretty decent.
Magnussen moves to the inside to try and cut him off. Perez is going to have to go the long way round. Magnussen's got that one covered, and as Perez can get him on the exit of turn 4.
I mean, that's the reason why Haas replaced Mick and not him. Not to mention, he even managed an extremely unlikely pole in Brazil last year.
Kevin Magnussen, who thought he was out of Formula One until he got the call up to come back, and to come back to Haas. What a fairy tale has absolutely happened for him.
You know who else could punch above their weight in 2023? The Aston Martin contingent. Now, Fernando Alonso has come in to replace the retiring Vettel. At 41, however, it's not like he's a spring chicken either. But hey, as long as he's got the pace, it should be fine, right? Like, he did finish P9 with Alpine last season, and so he still got it.
At the moment he might not be, as he get into turn 1, and he was almost on the grass. Dramatic stuff from Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso puts himself up into the points.
The same can't be said for his younger Canadian teammate Lance Stroll, who's just been lingering around without really producing anything spectacular. Seriously, the dude had half as much points as his teammate last season. So if he really wants to prove that he's not just a pay driver, he has to get closer to Fernando. And the dynamic kind of very similar at Alfa Romeo, where Zhou Guanyu will be entering his 2nd season, trying to make a mark in the sport after a P18 finish last season, and prove that he's the driver for the team's future with Audi. His teammate, Valtteri Bottas, on the other hand, has really gotten settled and has been a great leader after his Mercedes stint. He finished P10 in 2022 and scored 49 of the team's 55 points, including a P5 finish in Italy. So he's the guy at the team. As for the next team, McLaren, the roles are still a bit undefined. Lando Norris, for one, has been immense for them, finishing 7th and way ahead of his old teammate Ricciardo last season. But he was still the young gun in the team. Not anymore though, because he's now being joined by an exciting Australian rookie, Oscar Piastri, who comes with big expectations after winning consecutive F3 and F2 titles. So the pressure's gonna be on these two youngsters to perform and return the team back to the top. But of course, they've got some strong opposition in the Alpine pairing. I mean, Esteban Ocon has already proven he can be consistent and fast, finishing with a career best P8 in 2022 and beating the mighty Fernando Alonso, and it's more or less a similar story for his new teammate, Pierre Gasly, who brings youth and experience after a brilliant stint at AlphaTauri, finishing P14 with them last season. Not to mention, he's got that iconic Monza win under his belt too. So for 2023, the sky's the limit for him. Speaking of reaching the sky though, it's time to talk about the Mercedes drivers. Now, Lewis Hamilton didn't have a particularly great 2022 season due to his car's shortcomings, finishing with an uncharacteristically low P6 in the process. Despite all the challenges, however, he still performed admirably with multiple podium finishes. But of course, there's only one goal for the 38-year-old legend heading into this season, that coveted 8th World Championship, which will make him the most decorated driver in Formula One history. And thankfully, George Russell is by his side, a driver who'll be happy to continue learning from Hamilton. Though, with this being his second season with the Silver Arrows, he'll have aspirations of his own too, especially after that lofty P4 finish in the championship and a win in Brazil. I mean, if they can get the car right, then there's no reason to think why he can't go for the title too. Guess who else wants that title though? Of course, it's the Ferrari drivers. Carlos Sainz, for instance, may have gotten his first F1 win last season. And sure, his campaign was partially ruined by mechanical errors, but a P5 finish was still not good enough. So for 2023, he's going to be looking to push a bit closer to his teammate and potentially launch a title challenge. After all, this is his third season with the Scuderia, so it's time for him to step up. As for the other Ferrari driver, Charles Leclerc, honestly, he just needs to keep doing what he's been doing because he's been absolutely brilliant, getting a P2 finish in the championship and even having the lead at the start of the season. In fact, the only reason why he wasn't close to a P1 finish was that the team fumbled the strategy in a lot of races. With a new team principal, however, the Monegasque will be hoping to clinch his maiden F1 title. But obviously, he's got the biggest challenge ahead of him, the Red Bull contingent. Alright, so Sergio Perez had his best Formula One season in 2022. Well, at least in terms of his stats, as he finished P3 and won 2 races. But it'd be safe to say that he wasn't exactly pleased with his campaign. After all, he did play second fiddle to his teammate for the majority of the year. Plus, there was the whole quote-unquote feud in the team as well. So, heading into 2023, which will be his third season with the team, the Mexican will be hoping to step things up and actually try to compete for the championship. Though of course, it's going to be an uphill battle because his teammate, Max Verstappen, is the reigning champ and doesn't seem to be showing any signs of slowing down.
On the inside, this time is just hanging back a little bit. And is the patience going to pay off here? Because Verstappen has got DRS down the main straight. Charles Leclerc can't cover him off. Verstappen takes...
In fact, if anything, the Flying Dutchman has only grown stronger with time, winning a record-breaking 15 races last season. I mean, seriously, the dude is in a league of his own, and he's still only 25. So for him, there's only one target for 2023, a third consecutive Formula One World Championship. All right, these were all the Formula One drivers on the grid this season.